This week on the show, we're talking about Doom the Dark Ages, Kyle finally finishing Earthbound, and Tifa's Expedition 33 Hoopla. Dude, God damn it, Kyle.
That was Hunter!
I thought I could trust you. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. One of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, are my good friends, Kyle.
Hello.
And Hunter. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
It's nice to have you back, Kyle. You feeling any better?
I am. Yeah. Not sure what happened to me last week. I just got hit with like this super bad sickness. I was talking with Hunter about it before the show, and I'm like, I really hope that I haven't like developed like a pollen allergy.
That'd suck.
Because it would suck because like I've never had an issue like that, or like an experience like that before.
I used to have hay fever when I was a kid, and it used to be the worst, and then I kind of grew out of it, and both my parents still have it pretty bad, so I'm like, am I going to age into that? Is that going to be something where it's like it comes back around? I'm like, I don't want that. I hated having hay fever. It's good not having it. I appreciate her not having it.
People have tried to attribute my tuberculosis cough to like allergies sometimes here and there, and I'm always like, nah, I don't think that's it. Simply because it just happened. When it happens, it's completely random. Like when it begins or ends, it just chooses indiscriminately.
Well, you know, that is the way that tuberculosis is, Hunter. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And speaking of tuberculosis, it's Doom the Dark Ages review week, ladies and gentlemen. Hooray! Hunter's been playing Doom the Dark Ages, so this week we're going to give you our first impressions on that. Kyle has finished Earthbound, so he's going to talk about that too. And then, hey, we've been playing a lot of Expedition 33, and by we, I mean Hunter and myself, and we're basically both either done or pretty close to being done, so we thought we'd give our final impressions on that too while we're here, as we've not had a chance for either of us to review it yet, so that's the plan. Obviously, over the next couple of weeks, we've got some other things coming up. We've got like Summer Game Fest coming up. Obviously, the launch of the Switch 2 is like, what, 2.5 weeks away now? That's scary. That's just kind of cropped up out of nowhere. Like
June 5th.
Yeah. That almost feels wrong. You know what I mean? Like it just does feel like it has cropped up out of nowhere. I'm like, oh yeah, it is the middle of May already. Oh god.
It's still crazy to me that we were all able to get pre-orders in for that.
Dude, I've still got 2. I need to remember to cancel that other one. I still got 2. Or else I'm going to end up with 2 Switch 2s, which is not going to be good.
Yeah.
Unless the tariffs hit again, and then hey, that's an investment right there.
Sell it to Americans.
If they're anything like Sony, Hunter, they'll be taxing us first, because that's the way that worked. Oof. Was PlayStations? Nah, American, you're fine for now. Europe? Oof, indeed. But yeah, a bit of housekeeping for you. Obviously, we'll be doing our Summer Game Fest impressions in around 2 weeks. Obviously, we haven't decided what we're doing yet in terms of the week after that, because I don't Switch 2 and Game Fest at the same time. God help the people that are actually going to Summer Game Fest and having to cover both at the same time, but we'll just have to deal with whatever mess.
If it's anything like last year's show, there won't be much to cover.
No, but Xbox for the past couple of years has had some really good shows, so that's the issue. Summer Game Fest, I don't think is the issue. I think the Xbox showcase on the Sunday is the issue, because that's usually, I mean, this time last year, that's where you got your first looks at a lot of the games that came out this year, like Expedition 33.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it's a pretty big show.
I don't think we had seen anything
Midnight was there
Doom
too
before then.
No.
And Doom, yeah.
Yeah, they were all showcased there. And then, so yeah, there'll be a lot of stuff coming up. And then next week, join us as we say goodbye to the Nintendo Switch 1. Rest in peace. We're going to be doing a big farewell tour for the Nintendo Switch 1 next week.
For real this time. No more Switch 1 goodbye episodes.
For real this time.
This is the last one.
I know that 1/10 of our episodes are goodbye Switch 1 episodes, but we're doing it for real this time. We promise.
Like, surely this is the last year for it.
Yeah. Join us for like 3 weeks' time when we say goodbye to Switch 2 as well. It'll be pretty sick. Anyway.
After we've had our fill of Mario Kart.
Yeah. Anyway. Doom the Dark Ages is here, ladies and gentlemen. The game that's kind of, at least to me, I forgot, I'm not going to lie to you, I forgot this game came out this week. It's one of those games where I'm just like, obviously, if you're a Doom fan, This is all you care about. You've been waiting for it for 5 years now. But if you're not, I don't know about you, Kyle. I've not seen anybody talk about this, so it's like for me, this is like I'm getting pretty blind here into Hunter's impressions. I literally, other than the trailers, I don't know what's happening.
Bro,
So,
I didn't even watch the trailers.
well, there you
I know
go.
there's a gun that crushes skulls,
Oh,
and
there
that's the
sure
extent of my
is.
knowledge on this game.
That thing is so metal. I've been enamored with that since I saw it in the one trailer.
I bet you have.
So, how much have you
I
played,
mean, yeah,
Hunter?
it's rad.
Obviously, this is new Doom game prequel. It's like the third in the new Doom trilogy, but it's the first. What they're doing that weird thing where they're doing the Back to
Yeah,
the
it's
Future, where it's like present,
Devil May
future,
Cry.
back. Yeah.
it's chronologically the first one. It happens several years before Doom 2016 would have, and all of that. But I've put about I don't know, I'd say 8 to 9 hours into it. I would say.
So you're a good chunk of the way through it then.
Yeah, I'd say I'm about a little over a third of the way through it. I'm on like chapter 9 out of 22 is what they, because they tell you when you get to the end of a mission or whatever.
No, fair enough.
Mm.
And obviously, it's weird, right? Because it's like each of the new Doom games has kind of got a different gameplay loop to it, right? They kind of have gone. They've kind of instead of just innovating on what's come before, they've kind of gone with a
They
different
choose
style
completely
of
different
gameplay.
design philosophies. It's really interesting that way because I think it does a good. I think it does a good job to make them all feel like there's not one that's necessarily just straight out better than the other ones
Mm-hmm.
because of that. No, but you know, which I guess in some ways is why so many people are like milder on this one than they have been, which I don't get because if it was just I don't know, I feel like the change up in gameplay the way they do it is way more drastic than just same thing but now you can do this kind of deal, that so many games like to do, like Uncharted, Uh same game except now he's falling out of a plane for the big quick time event cutscene, and that's it. But whereas this is like entirely different as far as the specifics of it.
Because yeah, the first game was kind of your Doom, your run and gun. You've got Doom Eternal, which was a lot more jumping around, airtime, kind of Tony
Jumping
Hawk's Pro
around,
Skater doing some sick tricks.
cycling through all of your
Yeah.
weapons in rapid succession because you gotta, yeah, the little triangle of resources you were always trying to manage in real time with the combat there. Whereas I would say this one is a little more stripped back than Eternal as far as that's concerned, with the way that all works. Like the elements of doing things, killing things in a certain way to get armor, and then killing other things in a certain way to get ammo and health. Those are all still there. I just feel like they exist more kind of passively in a way. Like I don't have to go out of my way to set a guy on fire so that I can kill him to get the armor now. It's just kind of like there are dudes with shields, and if you shoot them and their shields like combust and then you throw your own shield at them, a whole line of these guys will explode and you get a bunch of armor for it. It's really cool that way. And I think I'd like that more, honestly. Like I like being able to just kind of run around and not have to worry too much about all of the what I'm doing. I like that I'm just on the razor's edge of I'll be at a maximum HP for a little bit in an encounter, drop down to almost dead, and then be back up to maximum HP again in like the span of 30 seconds. It's delightful. I love I love doing that. It's a lot of fun that way.
So obviously, big gameplay adjustment is obviously you've got a shield. That's one of the big things. Is you've got you are literally our medieval shield, and obviously you've got your new weapons as well. So it's like what.
Yeah.
How useful is a shield in a Doom game? That's my question. Is how useful is a shield actually in a Doom game? Do you tend to actually use it?
Yeah, they do a bunch of stuff to make it something that you'll like jump to using. Like it has first of all, you can just throw it and call it back, like the Leviathan axe or anything like that. So it helps you take out like because the Doom games love to just send random little fodder guys at you if you spend a minute in a room just looking around to see if you're finding secrets. And it's always a little annoying to be like, now I got to shoot you with a shotgun shell to take out this puny little guy. So throwing the shield, which costs nothing to get rid of that, and is helpful that way. And then other mechanics, it's got a compare stuff, which everyone's favorite. I had to switch the button mapping because parry for that was L2, and because I've been playing Expedition 33 so much, that ruined my muscle memory for a minute. I was sitting there just doing nothing while I was trying to do that.
To be fair, Expedition 33 also has a bad button placement for that as well in my head, because in my head, I don't know why, I think it's because in every other game I've played, parry is L1. So for like the first 5 hours of Expedition 33, I was pressing L1 and like I kept like fucking it's R1. It's not in this game. It's R1. So I just kept like throwing me off, and now I'm used to R1 again. So I'm like, this is. Can we all come up with a parry button? Can we all agree on what the parry button is, please? Because
It's like when we played Split Fiction earlier this year, and the dash was on like square or something, wasn't it?
yeah, no, can we all agree that
Ugh.
dash should be on circle? Circle is a dash button. Let's all
Circle is
get
the
that
dash button.
right. And I still believe L1 should be parry. I don't know why. I still think L1 should be parry. But hey, that's just me.
Aside from parrying, you can just hold up the shield to block incoming attacks that you like don't have time to dodge out of the way of, because you don't have like a dash functionality anymore in this one. Doomslayer is way more of like a big old tanky boy in this one rather than agile and zipping around and stuff. Um, you can lock onto things while you're holding on to the shield or holding the shield up, and you'll do like a little rush towards them. It's a really good distance closer. And if you do that to like the fodder guys, or if you do that to anybody, it'll do like a shockwave attack that kills a bunch of people around you. Um, yeah, because this game really likes to just throw enemies at you, but it's more for the rather than a bunch of enemies that will make life more difficult for you. It's more for just the catharsis of seeing more things die.
Mm.
Where you have about the same amount of important people per encounter than as you would in the other games, where like spend a little bit of time actually shooting these guys, but you've just got little extra grunts that are dying as while getting in the way to um it's like Dynasty Warriors in that way, except better.
So obviously you got a
A
new
doomed
shield.
Muso.
Oh no, don't give him ideas.
It's what the world
Uh,
needs,
I
Ethan.
don't think it is. I really don't. You've got the shield.
Then you don't see the vision.
Obviously, we've also seen the very metal weapon of crushing skulls that turns them into to bullets. What kind of new toys has Doom Guy got this time around?
Yeah, so that one is the pulverizer. Um you get a lot of what you would expect these things to have with little new twists on it. Like both the shotguns are lever action now, since he needs to be able to reload them while uh using only one hand, which
Hmm.
is funny because like with the super shotgun that like changes up the like that one had a very specific rhythm in the other two games where it's like two really quick shots that do a lot of damage, and in this one it's the rhythm is a little slower, but it's still just as satisfying because of the little spin he does to reload it and stuff. It's very cool. Um, Aside from that, you've got this one of the first extra guns they give you outside of the shotgun was this cool little like nail spiker kind of weapon. I think it it was like it kind of reminded me of the needle gun from Halo. Just
Yeah,
shoots things a bunch and sticks in them in that kind of way. The a lot of the perks for upgrading it revolve around sticking them with more stuff and then like detonating that to hit more people. You get a little you get a couple of plasma weapons to detonate energy shields and that kind of thing. There's one that's really cool because one of the upgrades does like this arcing lightning thing where after you shoot them a guy so much it'll hit other things. uh Then you got the other classics like the grenade launcher and I'm drawing a blank. There was one that I got earlier today that was really interesting where it's like this It's almost like it reminded me of one of the guns from Returnal that I can't really place right now, where it's like you charge up a shot and there's like a specific window where you like let it go and it hits like and that's like the best time to hit it. And if you like go back to charge it again in a certain window, that makes it shoot out faster. It was a very interesting gun, and I wish I would think to experiment with it more, but that hasn't really been what I've been doing yet. But it's a really cool weapon set as far as that goes. Like shotgun, very nice for dealing with bigger guys. The pulverizer, the skull weapon, is very good for crowd control. And the other ones all do the job when you run out of ammo for those. At least for how I play it.
Hell yeah. How often are you running out of ammo, or like how many often are they like giving you more stuff to use?
It's not nearly as often. You're not running out of ammo for the guns you're using nearly as often as you would with Eternal, where that one seemed like it was making a game out of making you use all of your weapons in every
Mhm.
encounter after a little while. Whereas this one, I've been sticking with mostly just the ones I want to use. And then, like, if I see an energy shield guy, I'll switch to the plasma weapon and, go from there because it's, helpful and all of
Yeah.
that. But, you know, aside from that, I've been able to pretty much stick to just what I want to be using in the moment. And, if you run out, you can do the melee attacks to get your ammo back or whatever, or find some on the ground, and it's not that bad. I think one thing that could help these games out though is when you're done in a room after an encounter. I think that if you had a thing that just sucked up all of the excess ammo to you, that would be nice. So you don't have to like spend time looking to see if you dropped some shotgun shells off in the corner that you didn't pick up during the fight, kind
Yeah,
of
I
thing.
know I know, Metroid Prime 1, they had a feature where if you held the charge shot, everything in the room, all the drops would just come to you.
Yeah. I think something like that. Like obviously you wouldn't want to do that in the middle of a fight because that'd be lame,
Right.
but doing it after the fight, I don't think there's any issue with that.
Yeah, just helping with the post-fight cleanup.
Yeah. But yeah. The way they sort the weapon wheel is interesting too because like there's like 8 slots on it, but each slot has like they're like two different classes of weapon. Like I haven't gotten everything yet, but like the needle spiker thing has a little companion weapon that's more of like a slow paced. I guess it would be what counts for a sniper in this game. You don't actually look down the sights or anything, but it's got an ammo capacity of like 10 and it wants you to aim for headshots. And it's actually not that hard to use in this kind of game because you kind of like I just rather blasé about shooting it, and usually it works out for me.
I've never thought about, like, a sniper in a Doom game.
Well,
It
there was
sounds
an
like the
actual
most
like
useless thing ever.
there was like an actual assault rifle in Eternal that you'd like
Yeah,
be able to use you'd be able to look down a sight and or look down a scope and use in headshot things with it, make the monsters explode into the
yeah,
confetti, ammo confetti, and all of that. But
but
I
Doom
never
Slayer.
liked I never liked being forced to do that because I hate using sniper rifles in games.
Yeah, Doomslayer doesn't strike me as the kinda guy to be, like, slow and methodical with aiming down a scope,
No, no,
you
not at
know?
all.
Rip and tear, rip and tear.
That is indeed his motto.
So how are you finding the world building in it? Obviously, the dark ages, the kind of the medieval kind of fantasy style to the level design and everything like that. How are you finding it?
It's always like ever since the notion of the concept of the game, it's been very tickling because they clearly didn't go all the way back to the Dark Ages because he's on a completely different planet and they're still using guns and stuff. They're just kind of ripping cool stuff for the aesthetic, which I
Hell yeah.
100% respect because like, they're still fighting. You still got plasma weapons and now it's just kind of fun because it's got stuff that shoots like big old nails at them and whatnot. I think it works for the aesthetic they built, like the the fur cape he wears now, very cool. That's an undefeated design choice. If you add that to a character, it makes him at least 10% cooler. But as far as like it makes all the levels look pretty cool too aesthetically. Like I think it's a very good looking game. I would say like they show you this game's got like a cutscene at the beginning of every mission. It's funny that way. It's actually funny to track the evolution of how they present the story in these games because I believe 2016 just everything was still in first person. They didn't ever go outside of the Doomslayer's perspective to show you anything. And then in Eternal, they gave you a couple of like third person POV cutscenes, and now in this one, they're like showing you more of it every time. Which, story wise, I believe that for this kind of game, all you really need to do is set up cool scenarios for Doomslayer to do his thing in. And it's definitely succeeding at that. Uh, I've always thought that the lore for these have been relatively well thought out, even if there's only a handful of people that actually care. Like, I'm not gonna say that I'm going to be like if they kill anyone off, I'm not gonna be heartbroken about it. But I think it's interesting enough for what they're doing. The bad guy looks cool. He looks like he'd be friends with Orin from Baldur's Gate. He's got this cool red outfit and some horns. He looks like he'd be a Sith Lord almost. But yeah, aside from that, I think the story is, it does what it's trying to do, and I'd say it is doing it effectively.
Ethan, you're muted.
Oops, sorry. How's the soundtrack?
So I haven't hit anything that's like like it all serves its purpose. I haven't hit anything that's like the only thing they fear is you or BFG division yet, and I don't know if it's gonna have that, but it has like all of the typical bits in line with what you would expect to be hearing with this kind of game, metal music and all that, but I haven't heard anything that really sticks out yet. I'm hoping maybe, if we hit a big moment sooner or later, we'll get something, but I don't know. The sound design is very up and down sometimes here. Like there are points where it's really good. Like if you sprint, the clomps of Doomslayer doing his run, immaculate.
Clops.
The sound balancing for if you get armor, I'm not sure who did that, but they should have given it a second look because it's like if you get like 5 hits of armor at once, it's like the THX startup on a VHS thing where it just like if you had the volume up a little higher, your soul would leave your body kind of thing. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know who did that, but maybe you should have balanced that differently. uh but yeah, overall I think it's pretty solid. They introduced a couple of new gimmicky level type of things that nearly escaped my notion. You get the big old mech guy to play as, and Doomslayer also has a dragon. I think I liked the mech a little bit more than the dragon as far as that goes. A lot of they're like decent enough change ups in gameplay, but I wouldn't really. Yeah, I hope that there's not. I hope they don't get any longer if they send me back to doing that kind of deal.
Well, they definitely
Or
will.
like,
Of course, they definitely will.
yeah, I'm just. It's like the third, like I think it was mission 3 was when it gives me the mech for the first time. It was like, well, yeah, this is cool. Beating up big old giant demon guy. It's fun enough. You're punching stuff instead of shooting for most of it. It's a very weird change up because for a game that's the whole thing is blocking while you're playing as the Slayer, you suddenly have to dodge everything now. Which weird since you're in a giant robot now, but whatever. I'm also not convinced that the giant robot does anything but inhibit the Doomslayer. But anyway, it's entertaining enough. The dragon, again, for some reason, also revolves around dodging, where the things you're like locked to, you shoot out. it's still color coded the same way as trying to parry something, where everything that's parryable is green, but now you got to dodge out of the way or whatever, and then you dodge and you get a little extra. Your attack hits harder, and you break it. Luckily, with the dragon, which I didn't like how it controlled as much, it's mostly just taking you from place to place, and you can chase down extra ships for money if you want, kind of deal now.
Fair enough. Kyle, any other questions that you've got? I can't really think of anything.
Any like overt negatives with the game? Anything you're finding cringe? As the kids say, for lack of coming up with a real word. Anything cringe, Hunter?
Yeah,
not
Hunter.
based,
Anything
not poggers.
Based? That's crazy.
What
gives you the ick?
Off the top of my head, I've yet to hit out. I've like this might happen later because Eternal had a couple of enemies later where I was just like, oh, not you again. Like the goofy priest guy that rezzed everybody if you took too long to hit him or whatever. I didn't like him at all. But I haven't hit an enemy like that yet. Like the only minor complaint I had was the, shotgun, or not the shotgun, but the crazy sound design in some places where it just hurts your ears if you got it up too high. But I guess this is something that would maybe put off a couple of people if they wanted to be annoying, was the normal difficulty seems to be tuned to be a fair bit easier than Eternal was, and probably easier than 2016 was. Like I was dog walking this game for the first little while, and then I think I was like, okay, that's a little weird. So I bumped up the difficulty, and so far it's like the parry window is very large for this game. Like you do not have to be super precise. Actually, that could be a minor negative there, is like the way it works, like getting your rhythm down for it was weird because I didn't know if I was doing it right or if I was just happened to walk into a green attack with my shield up kind of deal. I think they could have, like, for a series that's so good at being viscerally cathartic, I feel like the parry itself could have been better.
Are there like enhanced parries? Like if you do at the right frame or anything, or the right window or anything like that?
I don't really think that's something they got going on. It's more like just parry it and it stuns the enemy so you can shoot them or punch them kind of deal.
Yeah.
But aside from that, yes, one thing is like they simplified the glory kills to where you're kind of just seeing him punch things and or throw a shield and it blows them up or cuts off their head kind of thing. And while it's nice, they're faster, so I guess it's nice in that regard. I do kind of miss the specific animations for how you would kill these things. Like I liked seeing a special, like I liked having a spider bot that he'd like rip off its tail and stab it in the eye kind of thing. I like that kind of variety for the it'd be exciting to see a guy after a while if you like a specific animation. It's like a Nero and Devil May Cry that way, where you always give you a little something to look forward to with a different enemy.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I take it that you still recommend it, though.
I definitely would. I wouldn't be shocked if this turned out to be my favorite of the bunch by the time I got to the end.
Ooh. Big words.
Which is interesting, because it's like, yeah, I feel like it's very much this game is, and I think that's what's interesting about the Doom games, is all three of them are clearly very good at what they want to do. It is just which gameplay loop fits you the best. Like, I can see a lot of people who really liked Eternal and how fast and, that resource management, people that really love that are slightly let down by this. Some people really like the slower pace and the more kind of methodical gameplay loop. It's just what's your preference, really. Neither of them are better. It's just what you prefer.
Yeah, pretty much. And like I think some people are just kind of like mild on this one because it's another good Doom game and about the same amount of time as it's been since the last one, which,
Yeah.
is still 5 years, so it's about, you know, like, I think a 5-year gap for these kind of things is plenty of time to be ready to play another one.
Absolutely.
It's not like they're throwing us Doomslayer's new wacky hobby every year.
Doomslayer goes golfing.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Unfortunately, though, there is no Animal Crossing to go along with it.
Sadly, there is
So we
not.
have to fill the second half of this episode with something else.
What a shame.
Sad.
Darn.
To be
Or we
fair,
end it here.
if you did, yeah, we can. In terms of Animal Crossing, because I don't know why I was messing around with my Switch the other day, and I was like, I better check because on my Pokemon saves, all that they all when I swapped my Switches over, all my Pokemon saves disappeared off of the into the ether. They all deleted themselves because they don't transfer with profile transfers, but they also just delete when you do that on your Switch. So you just lose all your Pokemon saves. Love that. That's great.
Typical Pokemon.
But I was like, oh god, what about my poor Animal Crossing island? I haven't checked that in like 4 years. And I was like, it was still there. It was still on my old Switch. It's fine. So Isabel's still alive, guys. Isabel's still alive. But
Hooray. I hope you sent me another 20 postcards.
I did not. I didn't go that
Darn.
far. I just made sure to copy my Animal Crossing island over to my current Switch OLED because it was still on my old Switch. It wasn't even on my OLED. My save wasn't even there. Um, but hey, that's good. I also checked on my Pokemon Bank. Or whatever it is, Pokemon Home or whatever. Because I was like, oh
Yeah.
god, I really hope that I didn't move all my Pokemon over to Scarlet and Violet and then lose that save because then like all my Pokemon will be dead. There's still like 500 odd in Pokemon Home, so there's still some of them alive. They're still there. Probably only lost like 80, the ones that I liked. Oh well.
You'll be able
Boo-hoo.
to bring over half of them in the next game.
Can't wait, dude. Can't wait. Anyway, Cal, what have you been up to? It's been a couple of weeks. What have you been up to?
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, I had a week off work, and I decided to take that time to finally strike a game from my backlog. This is Earthbound on the Super Nintendo, a game that I had tried to play about 10 years ago, back in like 2014. I tried it, got decently far back then. I think I probably got about like halfway, and then I just stopped. No reason, just stopped. So I came back a couple weeks ago, and I did it. I finished it. I got it off my backlog, finally.
Good job.
And I gotta say, the game is all right. It is decidedly fine. I don't know if it, like, I'm sure you guys have had this happen to you too, but I don't know if it's just like I've heard people talk so much good about this game, be like, "Oh, this is one of my favorites. I love it. It's fantastic. 10 out of 10, no flaws." And then you play it and you're like, "Eh,
Bro, this is
I just
like 50% of
First
the
eh."
games I
Xenoblade.
play. It's like, yeah, first Blade. Hell yeah, we on that one, Hunter. Woo! Nier Automata was one of those games for me where
Mhm.
it was like, just obviously people, you and Eamon and my friend Eamon and a couple other people had been like, Ethan, you'd really love Persona 5, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna finally play it, and then I loved it. I was like, this is great. I should play more Japanese video games. This is fantastic. And then everyone was, raving about Nier Automata. So I was like, fuck it, I'll play that one. We'll go peak to peak. And then I played Nier Automata, and I was like, it's pretty good. I don't love it as much as everybody
You
else
went peak to
though.
valley.
Yeah, it was fine. It was like I've been meaning to go back to it because I was like, maybe I just didn't get it the first time around. Maybe I need to go back and play Neo. But it happens all the time where people are like, "Oh, this game is great," and then I'm just like, it's fine. Like
Yeah. I
it's
know I'm
fine.
guilty of doing that myself with you guys. Like earlier this year, I wrote a giant article about why Chrono Trigger's the greatest game of all time. Go check it out. It's a good a good article, good album
It's a
too.
good album, dude. Yeah, 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 definitely.
Great soundtrack too.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It does got a good soundtrack. It's true.
Check out the article and then check out the game. But yeah, finally played Earthbound. all the way through in its completion, and there's a lot to it. There's a lot to like in the game. I don't want to come off as me being like Earthbound hater, um, but there's also just like a lot of stuff that even for like 1994 standards when the game came out, like you probably could have done a second pass on this. Like the whole beginning of the video game is like unreasonably difficult. So for I'd say like the first 4 hours of the game, you're just going through it with Ness. He's the only character in your party.
Mhm.
There's no like side temporary party members you can recruit. It's just Ness. And the game, it's just super, super brutal, especially to a newcomer right at the start, where it'll just throw a bunch of really difficult enemies at you that you don't have a lot of crowd control at the start either. You pretty much just have your physical attacks. So I'm I'm going through Onet just like walking around trying not to get mugged by the people in the streets. And when I am trying to pick fights, I'm over here like doing Dark Souls strategies. Like, okay, I'm just trying to lure the enemies over one at a time. We'll pick them off individually, slowly get myself stronger, and then I can actually start to play the video game. Because the other thing is that like Ness himself isn't really an attacker; he's more of a tank. So you're going through the start of the game with a character not really doing a lot of damage, and your only
Oof.
magic is healing. So
Oof.
it it does get a lot more reasonable to play once you do recruit Jeff and Paula into your party, and then the game it feels like the game actually can function like a regular RPG.
Mhm.
And like another weird thing that bothered me. I know I'm just listing negatives, but there is a lot of good in the game too. um, but another thing that really just bothered me was that the inventory is so small. You have 14 inventory slots, and the game doesn't separate where your key items and your equipment are. So all those just get piled into the same. Like all your characters themselves each have 14 item slots,
Mhm.
but all their equipment and key items are all part of those inventory slots, if that
Nice.
That
makes
sounds
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
super annoying. Yeah.
So so at the start of the game, it's like the game gives you your ATM card for your money to get your money, and the game also gives you a sound stone, which are 2 key items that you have to have, and then you have 4 equipment slots all being taken up. So that's like almost half your inventory being taken up right away. So, like, God help you if you get to a spot where you have to have you have to pick up a key item, and oops, you don't have room for it. So throw away one of your good items that you just bought.
Good old Resident Evil. Just man, making you play Resident Evil way beforehand.
Dude, and then the game also there's one part where the game has the audacity to take away one of your party members. So now you just have two party members, 14 and 28 inventory slots between the two of you, and you have to go through an item shuffling dungeon where there are these monkeys where you have to they each ask for like specific things. It's all stuff you find in the dungeon, but like you take away one of my backpacks and then you make me have to do item management with one of my backpacks gone.
Dude, I
Like,
hate it when games think they're being cute by doing stuff like that. Like, oh, Kingdom Hearts hiding the best level stopping spell behind the boss that would be the most useful on
yep,
kind of deal.
yep.
Like, oh, you think you're funny? I'm never gonna use this now. I have no reason to ever use this move anymore.
Exactly. But yeah, there's a lot of good. The soundtrack is very, very good, and the sprite work in this game is super, super nice too. Everything looks really cool. I like the battle backgrounds. I like how they're very distinct, very like trippy. It's
Yeah,
is the
very
best way to describe
surreal.
them. Final boss, fantastic. It's a really, really, really good set piece. Even going in knowing all about it, it's still like when you actually play it, it's just a really good moment.
Yeah. The only thing I really know about the game, and yeah,
Yeah,
probably still very likely to be my favorite thing if I were to ever play this game.
I did have I so there's also a bunch of like rare item enemy drops. I wasn't going out of my way for them, but there was one that I got like super rare enemy drop. It's called the Sword of Kings. It's a 1 in 128 drop, and I got it off the second enemy I killed. So
Nice.
that felt really good. I'm like never doing that again. I will never get that lucky again. And I was thinking about it. Like I was thinking about Earthbound in the last couple of weeks, like thinking about what I'd say on the show, and I think that like a lot of my I don't want to say dislike of the game, but a lot of like my negative takes on this where I'm coming from are like I've played Mother 3 already, which just takes Earthbound and makes it better
Mhm.
essentially. So I've already played basically a better version of Earthbound with a better cast, better graphics, better story, better music, better everything, better just general gameplay. And it's like Mother 3 is fantastic. It's one of my favorite games ever. Like easy top 30 for sure. And I don't know, Earthbound just didn't really hit the same for me. I'm glad that I have finally played it, but also I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's always weird talking about games where you're just kind of like in middle of the road on, you know?
They're the hardest
Yeah,
games to talk
I feel
about.
you.
They're the hardest
They
ones to
really
talk about.
are.
Um, but yeah,
There is a lot of good stuff here, but I
One
don't
thing
think I
about those
will.
games that's always kind of fascinated me was like the way that they do the damage calculation. It's like the rolling
Yeah. Yeah, that
number
is a
thing.
cool where
I
it's
was
basically
like,
like numbers ticking down
yeah,
rather
and
than
you've got
like
like
taking all
until
the
it
damage at
hits, and you've got until it hits
once.
0 and to or until however much is gone to actually heal it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
It,
really neat.
it's a cool idea and it definitely helps add like a lot of extra tension.
I wish I,
Whenever it happened, I found myself like forgetting where things are in menus because I'm
I
like,
wish
oh
one
shit,
of these
where's the heal?
indie
Where's the heal?
RPGs that are inspired by this game would take that mechanic instead of just the general sprite work and oops, we're weird kind of
Yeah,
idea. I would like to
yeah.
see this mechanic used in another game that I'm interested in because I think that's an interesting mechanic.
It is cool to play around with, and like I said, definitely helps add some extra tension to battles because it's like, yeah, you can save your party members if they're dying without having to waste one of your revival items.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
But no, there is a lot to like about this game. It's not for me personally, but maybe it's for you.
It's not for me. Don't look at me.
It does have a lot of 1994 quirks.
That
Yeah, it's
shit's
definitely
Like,
not
old,
for
bro.
Ethan. It came from before we were born, so
yeah, there's definitely some quirks. Like progression doesn't open unless you talk to certain NPCs at certain points. There's one point in the
you have to
game
talk
where
to him more than once. Is it one of those
sometimes
things where you gotta
sometime
like, oops, he only says the
sometimes
line
you
you need
do.
if you talk to him 3 times after doing a little dance for him.
Yeah, sometimes you do have to talk to them multiple times. Um, what was I gonna say? There's one part where to gain access into a dungeon, you have to just stand still in front of the dungeon door for 3 minutes. I shit you not. That's a real thing they did in this game.
Lovely.
And again, like the beginning of the game is just so brutal, but once you're past that, it does get a lot easier. It's
See,
just
it seems a weird choice to make the so far so much of the beginning stretch of a game uh without a party for a game
yeah.
where like I don't even like most of the best RPGs like this, you still wouldn't really want to play solo.
Exactly.
Even if you can, like even if Joker is nigh unkillable by the time I'm done with Persona 5, I wouldn't want to just take everyone else out of the group.
Yeah. Like, I'm thinking of and even, like, thinking about the other RPGs kind of around that time in the SNES era, like, Final Fantasy VI is just chucking party members at you every 20 minutes at the
Yeah.
start of the game.
And most of them could fight an army on their own, but like you
Exactly.
don't really want to do that if you don't have to.
And what is it? Chrono Trigger, they do a good job shuffling which party members you have right at the start. Mario RPG gives you Mallow and Gino right at the pretty much at the start, like
Yeah.
at least fairly early on, and then there's a bit of a gap before Bowser joins you.
Yeah.
Mana, I think the Mana games just give you your 3 party members very close to the start, and then you just run it with that. So I don't know. I don't know. Earthbound is weird. It's a
That's like
a
its
j
defining characteristic, yeah.
yeah, it's a genre norm breaker for whatever that was worth in 1994. Moral of the story is go play Undertale.
Yeah, that's the spirit.
Hooray.
I've
Deltarune's
I've
almost
also never
here, guys. Half of Deltarune is almost here. I can't wait.
I have also never played Undertale.
I have. It was all right. That's another one.
What?
That's another one. That's one of them ones. Yeah, there you go. Ugh.
We like it because it's weird.
I mean, I thought it was pretty good, but I definitely didn't like it enough to make it my personality like so many other people who played it.
Dude,
I
the
just
internet
don't
made
get
me
it.
not want to play Undertale.
Yeah, I having played it, I was like, this is pretty good. The only thing that I 100% agree with the internet on is that the soundtrack is phenomenal. Like, that's the only thing where I'm like, yeah, the Undertale soundtrack is incredible. That one, I'm like, yeah, that is a 10 out of 10 soundtrack. Fully with you there. With you on that part. The game part, it's all right. It's fine.
Yeah, overall, so far, with the first 2 parts of Deltarune so far, it's looking more like I'm gonna like that one more than Undertale at the end, unless he like colossally biffs it in the second half.
Well, I'm at the
Could you
point now,
imagine? That'd
Hunter.
be so
Funny.
I'm genuinely at the point now because I remember when Deltarune was first announced. I don't remember if this was before the podcast started or around the time
There
the
was already
podcast
one part of
started.
there was
Yeah,
already one part of Deltarune out
it
by
was
the
the
time
September
the
before,
podcast
wasn't it?
started.
But I
Yeah.
remember saying, I was like, I'm not going to play Deltarune until it's fully done. But there is genuinely the part of me now where it's like, they're charging money for it, and I've been waiting 6 years, you know, where I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I will play 1 through 4 now, like, when it comes out now, because like, will I be alive when this thing's done at this rate? Like, come on now.
I
Like, we might
would
as well give it a try.
just treat it like a smaller version of the Final Fantasy VII remakes, where it's pieces of the story, but their own pieces, own full parts of the game.
Yeah.
Because I would say it's kind of like that in a way where really you could just kind of start in the middle of part 2, and except for a couple of details, you'd be like, oh, yeah, all right. This is mostly just its own thing.
Yeah. Anyway, glad to hear you got another game off your bucket list, Kyle.
I am too. I'm glad I decided not to play new games this year.
That's the spirit, dude.
Let's
That's the spirit.
just kill this backlog, dude.
Hey, I did some of that last year. It was pretty good.
Sometimes it's what you need, dude. New games are smelly and expensive.
True.
Old
Speaking
games are smelly and
Also expensive.
morally dubious.
Anyway, speaking of stinky, smelly new games, let's wrap this up with some Expedition 33 thoughts. Mainly, we're doing this because we promised this last week, and then we just went, because I was also ill last week, and I was like, nah, we've done enough of podcast. Like, we're not going to make this 90 minutes. We'll add it to next week. So here we are. Hooray! I'm also still not 100% this week either. Yeah, so let's see how we're going with this. So Hunter, you finished Expedition 33 at this point, haven't you?
No.
What?
I've had family visiting for the past week. That's why I only made that's why I said that you might pass me. I'm almost like
Dude,
at the
you
point
literally
where
said to me, you might pass me like a week ago. And I was like, nah, bro, I haven't played this week. And I haven't played this week either. And it's like, we're just having a competition on who can beat the final 2 hours of the video game the fastest because we're just sitting there going, I don't want to do that.
I've had some more time to play it this week, but I did just decide to go and look for things in the third act, big old bosses to smack around instead of doing the end of the game.
Yeah. And to be fair, everything that I could do before doing something, I have been just doing everything I can. Unless the game's like, no, flashing red at you, don't do this yet, you dumb fuck. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I won't. But everything else, I've just been like, I've done all the optional areas, I think, so far up until this point. So yeah, Hunter's in Act 3. I'm on the final boss of Act 2, so I'm basically like an hour away from being in Act 3 as well. So we're both near the end, so we've played enough of the game to solidify what our opinions will be, unless the final half an hour retcons everything and does unbelievable damage, which I doubt because people say that this game seems to stick the landing.
I've only ever seen like 2 games biff it that tremendously in the last 45 minutes.
Yeah, true. But yeah, like I say, I've played about 30 hours. I think I'm at the 30-hour mark now. So I've played enough of it to have a pretty strong reaction to it. And I think, Kyle, you were talking earlier about people hyping up games, being like, oh, this is the best thing ever, it's incredible, and being like, okay, fine, I'll fucking play the game. Like, I wasn't planning on playing this video game at all until I remember specifically earlier on this year in the podcast going, I'm gonna skip it because I played too many JRPG styled video games recently. I'm gonna take a break.
Yeah.
And this game got like a 91, and I was like, okay, fuckers, I don't believe you. I'm going to play this shit. You can't stop me.
It's amazing how easy it is to peer pressure Ethan into playing a game.
You have to threaten me with a good time, and I'll be like, fuck you, it's not going to be that good, and then I'll hop on in. And I think this is one of those rare occasions where I am actually sitting there, and I'm like, oh no, this game is fantastic. It really is a special game, Expedition 33. To the point where I'm sitting there and I have my issues with it. I came in before we started recording this podcast pretty pissed off because I just died at one of the bosses. And I was like, stupid fucking game. And obviously it's like, don't mean it, but I'm just angry because I'm bad. But, I'll get good tomorrow and then I'll carry on.
Bad.
Yeah, basically.
Classic.
But it really is a special game, and I think the reason that a lot of people are attaching to this Hunter is I feel like a lot of people have been vindicated on the absolute stupidity of Square Enix over the past decade or so, going, guys, turn-based isn't the shit anymore. You can't do a modern Final Fantasy with turn-based combat. And then someone comes in here and basically does a modern Final Fantasy with turn-based combat. And at least compared to the late, I know Hunter also hates 15 as well, but compared to 16, I think this is a much better game than Final Fantasy 16, from a narrative and from a gameplay point of view. Based on Hunter's comments on Final Fantasy 15, I think it's clear to say it's also probably better than that as well.
Expedition 33 could be a fourth as good and still be better than Final Fantasy 15.
But it genuinely is and I mean, we don't need to, because I feel like, we're on the forefront of preaching, hey, JRPG, turn-based RPG games can be pretty fun if you actually give them a shot. And I think the comments that everybody makes, oh, this is the game, and I'm like, really, this is the game that tells you turn-based is pretty good? Because we didn't have these conversations about Baldur's Gate 3 last year, or Persona 5 a couple of years before that, or, it's just like...
Metaphor.
We have these conversations every year where it's like, turn-based RPGs could actually be fun. I'm like, yeah, there's one every year that's good. Just get in the genre, you little dickheads. It's pretty good over here. But it really is fucking impressive how good this game is from every level. From a narrative point of view, it is one of the rare games that is strong throughout. There's not really a down period on this game's narrative. Yeah, you'll find your similarities. I mean, this game is very much whenever you're sitting there, I'm like, okay, so it's got the Xenoblade 3 Homecoming thing in it, and it's like, okay, they're going, it's like it's very much built off
there
of
are like
yeah.
4 other games like it that I can think of that
Yeah.
have a similar story.
Yeah.
Xenoblade 3, Final Fantasy X, I Am
Yeah.
Setsuna.
100%.
Same song,
Yeah,
but
same song.
arguably way better played.
Yeah. But the performances are so damn good. Like legitimately, I was already a big fan of Ben Starr. I think Ben Starr is better in this game than he is in Final Fantasy 16. Which is saying something because Ben Starr was the best part of Final Fantasy 16. So there you go.
Yep.
But everybody in this cast, Jennifer English does an incredible job. Andy Serkis is really damn good in this game. Charlie Cox is fantastic in this game as well. It's got a really strong cast of characters. The gameplay mechanics are really fucking tight and really well done for the most part. I think other than it doing the classic JRPG thing of ramping it up really aggressive near the end, because that's what most JRPGs do. I think for the most part, the game does a really good job of gently amping up the difficulty to the point where you get really good at learning how to parry and dodge as you go through the game.
Yeah.
The soundtrack's phenomenal. It's one of the best soundtracks I've heard to a video game, period. Like, it is genuinely up there. It is probably up there in top 10 soundtracks to video games. It's really damn good. It's really hard to find flaws in this video game, other than some of the trial and error combat design isn't particularly forgiving, and it's not really. It does, when you're doing a big narrative boss fight, sometimes it doesn't feel fair when it's like, and now dodge, 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 and I'm like, I've just watched a cutscene. Can you let me wake up first? Like, come on, dude, let me wake up. But it's really damn good. I really like it. I don't know how you're feeling. I knew you liked it originally, Hunter. I still think it's very strong.
I would say the same. Like all the character, I've enjoyed all the characters a lot. I think one of the game's biggest strengths is that the main story stuff is paced really well, and it gives you enough stuff to go explore and do if you feel like, or fight an enemy out in the overworld that's way stronger than you, and you should probably wait on for. But go try and smack it around for an hour anyway, just because. And when you're ready to go do the main story stuff, you're not stuck there for an exorbitant amount of time.
No. Like I say, I think the combat's really damn good. I think the game lets you pick and choose how much you want to interact with its systems. Each character plays wildly different, and the game basically just lets you go. You don't really like that character, okay, you can kind of bench them.
Yeah. I think that each character is also pretty gratifying to use with their own mechanics. I think with like the shoulder shruggy exception for me is the blue mage, who functions like any blue mage does. But I like the other 4 quite a bit. Mael is one of my favorite mechanically, just one of my favorite characters in an RPG, like point blank period anymore. She could take on the world. It's incredible.
But no, it's a really good game. I'm liking it quite a lot. I think that like I like I say, I have a couple of nitpicks, but they're really stuff that is like very minuscule. I don't like it's little Ethan things where it's like, again, I read a bunch of reviews where it's like, this game is depressing as anything. Like, what a melancholy game. And then I'm playing through it and I'm like, dude, am I just numb to this? I don't think this game's that bad. I think it has sad moments, but I think a lot of games have sad moments. And I don't think I'm like,
it's really good at not
intro
being
pretty
overbearing
sad.
it.
There's a bit in the middle, pretty sad, but for the most part, I'm like, it's not that bad, guys. I think you guys need to grow grow a pair, guys. Like, come on, dude. Like, I want it more sad. Act 3, I want tears, damn it.
I think you need to stop reading reviews and taking that line seriously.
As a challenge, I take depressing as a challenge, don't I, Hunter? Right? It's like this game will make you cry. I'm like,
listen,
bet,
Ethan,
mate.
I'm also an unfeeling piece of stone. I don't hold it against the game for making other people cry.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I've cried at more video games than I'd care to admit. I'd say on the scale of Hunter to, Waterfall, I am very much closer to a Waterfall, because I do cry at fucking everything. I cried at Xenoblade 2, let alone Xenoblade 3. So it's like, I did not cry at Xenoblade 1, because I was happy it was over.
Butter Valley, maybe.
He cried for different reasons.
Yeah, I cried tears of joy because I was out of Button Valley, dude. Fuck me. But yeah, it's like, I cry at all sorts of games. I haven't cried at this game yet. It got me. No, so I'm like...
I think artistically depressing is a good way to describe it, definitely. I think that most people who, write reviews are relatively soft and will speak exaggeratory about that kind of thing, though. So...
Yeah, true.
But don't take it too seriously.
Yeah. I think it's just a very strong game. And the fact that, the person that made this soundtrack, they found on Reddit. The person who wrote this story, they found on Reddit. Everybody that basically made this game came from, friend of a friend or on social media.
All this talent being held hostage by Ubisoft.
Yeah, all 3 of them being held hostage by Ubisoft out of 33.
Yeah.
But, I think it's very impressive. I like the game quite a lot. I'd be very surprised. It's one of those games where I'm genuinely just sitting there going, I'd be very surprised at this rate if it doesn't stick the landing, which it will probably. I don't see anything topping this for me this year, where it's like, I just have had a really satisfying time. Like, there's gonna have to be, and I'm not counting Donkey Kong Bonanza, because Donkey Kong Bonanza, as fun as that looks for a 3D platformer, it also looks janky as fuck, and we all know it, and we all admit that game looks janky as fuck, right? But it's like, there needs to be like, unless Nintendo pulls out like a really, like a big boy game at the end of the year that's like really well polished and designed, I'm not looking at like Ghost of Yotei or anything like that. There's gonna drag this away from being on the top spot, really. Maybe Death Stranding 2, but even then I'm like, I like Death Stranding. I don't think Death Stranding is really gonna resonate with me like this game has, just from its performances. It's weird. I think it's a very good game. I have a couple of nitpicks, like its fucking level design's a bit shit, but it's like, it's fine. It does feel like Unreal Engine. It feels like Unreal Engine asset pack at times, where it's just like, it feels like a first studio. It feels like the game's first studio, but it also feels really high quality and it looks really pretty. There's some lovely areas. That underwater section is really nice. Like that, I love that area. That's like probably my favorite. A lot of areas though. Yeah, the Red Forest is pretty cool. But for a lot of the time, my main nitpicks with the game are like, yeah, the areas aren't that interesting to explore. The level design isn't that fantastic. I also think this game could really use a mini map, because the amount of times that I'm looking at a 2-section like little area, because there's a compass. If you press the Y button, there's a compass for some fucking reason, as if it's like, oh yeah, that's gonna help, mate.
I feel like if just doing or just pressing triangle brought up a mini map too, that would have alleviated.
Just
because,
to at least tell me which one's the main path and which one's the side path, so I can go down the side path first.
Really, I don't think that a lot of it matters, because really, you only really need to look for the main path if you've went really far off the beaten path, and you're not really missing all that much. If you don't, it's just, getting extra Lumina colors, or maybe a Picto that you're probably not going to use after you learn it anyway, kind of deal. But I still like looking for that stuff. But It's one of those things where it's like straight line with extra steps off to the side.
Yeah. But sometimes the game doesn't do an excellent job of telling you which one is definitely the main. Like most of the time, like I've got a good feeling that that is the main path, so I'm gonna go and do the other one first. But the game doesn't do a good job of signposting to you which one is the main path. Even if you pressed Y and instead of the compass that is just a physical north, south, east, and west, it had one of the modern game above compasses where it has like a little thing where it'll say little golden arrow where it's like that's the main way. Even if it was just something like that.
Dead Space's little light trail that tells you where to go would be helpful.
Literally anything.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, it does feel like you are just walking down a straight path anyway. Which is fine. I like it. The overworld map's pretty nice. I like that. It's got Persona social link kind of things that are cute, you know? It's good. It's a good game. You should play it. It's one of those games where it's like, it's one of those JRPGs. It's on that very small list of JRPGs that Persona 5 also accompanies, where it's like, you could give a normie Expedition 33. This passes that threshold where it's like, you can give a normie Expedition 33 and they'll probably like it. It's going on that list where I will pester my regular friends. You know what? You might like Expedition 33 actually. Don't worry, it's not horny. I can say it's not, instead of saying it's not that horny, I can say it's not horny. That you know, that's when you know it's a good JRPG, ladies and gentlemen, where you don't even have to use the word that.
Which is very impressive considering, you know.
They could have.
The French people.
But it is French.
Oh, true, dude. Baguette. 8 out of 10, dude. Not game of the year. Anyway. That's all I had to say. Hunter, did you have anything else to add on Expedition 33? 33?
No, I think we about covered it.
Expedition 33. So yeah. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, that is our show. We'll keep it short and sweet this week. So yeah. I'll put our links on screen right now. You can go and follow us on Twitter or Blue Sky if you want to keep up to date with what we do outside of the podcast. Like I say, next week we'll be saying goodbye to Nintendo Switch 1. Rest in peace. And the week after that we'll be doing Summer Game Fest predictions, so rest in peace to that as well. And then the week after that, Switch 2 is here, ladies and gentlemen. Get on the welcome tour.
So rest in peace to that.
Rest in peace to that as well. It's going to be fun.
It'll be 3 weeks before people are like, where's the next one?
True. I will be.
Where's Smash Bros?
Where's the Switch 2 Pro, guys? Where's the Switch 2 Pro?
Yeah,
anyway, let's wrap it up. Right, that's all we have time for this week. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back same time, same place for more. But until then, have an awesome week. Yeah. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.